Hello, in this video I'd like to show you how the radii for Blender plugin works. On my left I have Blender open and on my right I have a radii viewer. The first thing you want to do is to make sure that it's installed, so if you go to Preferences and Add-ons you can install it by clicking the top right corner, Install from Disk, and point it to the zip file. And then you should have an entry like this called radii. If it doesn't show up immediately you can just disable it and turn it on again and it should appear. So radii sits inside Blender on the right side of the viewport. And you can see here, if you click that small arrow, you have three tabs, one called Radii Connect, Radii Object, and Radii Audio Visuals. Connect is where you connect to the servers and make sure that you can upload to the cloud. You can also save locally and you can create scenarios. I might change the order of these things at one point. And then you have Radii Object, which are the sort of the physical objects, which are geometry, material, and point cloud. And then we have audio visuals, which are view, animation, sound, and sections. There are still a few features missing, but these are the most important ones that are implemented so far. So as you can also see, all of the stuff is grayed out because you need to load in a user so the plugin knows what to do with the content. So by default, it's pointing at public, and if I hit load user, it will load that user configuration into Blender. And you can see down here, I immediately get a list of the cloud files, which is also the ones that I have over here in the public cloud. And it has the name, size, and when it was modified. Here I can delete, rename, change the permissions. I can also give it a name and upload to the cloud. I can also save locally to a radii file, or I can save it into a scenario. But you can also see public doesn't have any members. So let's enter a user that has that are members of others than just itself. So let's load radii in, which is mine. And you can see here it only has one file. But you can also see that I'm a member of two other domains. Public, everybody's a member of the public domain. And I'm also a member of the dev domain. The first one is always the one that you own, and the other ones are the ones that you are a member of. And you can see if I change to public here, I can publish on public, and you can see all the files that are listed here, and I can go to dev, and I can see all the files that I have on dev. And then radii here. But anytime you can put in another user account. If you ever want to go back to public, you can just hit reset here, and then I'm back to public, and that's the one I'm going to be using. So there's only one thing left, and that is to connect. Over here in the viewer, I'm also connected, so let's just connect Blender. And then you can see that I'm zooming around with the Blender viewport here. So let's add some content also. So let's go to the radii object. And the way radii for Blender works is that it looks for collections. And collections, you can give properties tied to that particular type of collection. So let's add another publish geometry collection. And you can see all the components here have an add button. And that creates a new collection that you wish to do something with. So let's hit add, and it creates a new collection. And immediately you can see the properties that are tied to that collection. And because it's geometry, you can choose to have it rendered, have collision, have physics, and gravity. These are the default that it starts with. You can also, for that particular component, you can choose to update and push the content. And you can have as many collections as you want, and you can give them whatever properties you want. So you want to organize your Blender content into collections that you can then apply into radii like this. So right now it doesn't know what collection over here that in the scene collection that I wish to affiliate with that collection. So I just drag it in, and immediately that all the content of that collection is published. You can also see at the top here it has auto update, and if I update that, I will immediately update the content as I change it. If I don't and I move stuff around, they are not auto-updated, but if I hit update, they are updated again. And this is because, let's say you have a really large model, you maybe don't want to listen for updates at every change that you do, and also if it's a heavy model, it can take some time for the update to run. So therefore you would have it off and do your changes and then update. And you can choose to update each collection, but also if you go back to Radii Connect, you can also update all components. And this will update all changes on all the components. So I'm imagining that you will do your stuff in Blender, and then at one point you want to update all, and everything is updated into the viewer and you can work on. But you have the option to auto update. This auto update also works, for example, if you go into sculpting it will also auto-update your sculpting while it happens. And it will all of the stuff that you do will be submitted to the update if you have auto-update on. But let's turn it off. And then you can see here, if I turn on the different options for that particular collection, it will immediately happen to that collection. So another one is the published material. Here we can turn on auto update on that as well, and then change the material of the object, and that happens also instantly, like so. And then of course you can do whatever you want to do with it on the actual component. And you can also, all the stuff that you can normally do with the materials, just like in Radii for Grasshopper. So let's just do like this, and then return it to white. That doesn't matter, but like so. And then maybe also turn off the metallic, like that. So that's had auto update on the material. Another thing that you can do with this is also let me remove the material from the update here, and just update here. Let's turn on auto update, and then you can go into vertex paint, for example. Vertex paint has to be by vertex, so let's just do that, and then you can start to vertex paint your geometry, and it auto updates as you're doing it. So we don't want to do that. Let's just go back to object mode here, and then just give it the material, and then you're back again, because that overrides the vertex coloring. And then downstairs here at the bottom of it we have published point cloud. That basically works the same. You would make a collection, and inside that collection you would have a point cloud. So, but you can also just for fun have a collection that just has a let's put it up here, and then make a new collection. Let's move it out over here so we can see it, and then drop in the collection here, and then you can see you have a point cloud representation of that mesh. So because it's the point cloud component, it looks for a mesh, and it creates that out of the point cloud. You can also see that it still has that coloring that I did, and if I go in and auto update that, go into vertex paint on that, I can continue the vertex paint on the actual point cloud. Let's go back to object mode. So that's how sort of you have all these collections. You can have as many collections as you want, and they can each have different properties inside the Radii viewer. Just like Radii for Grasshopper, you can delete something. Let's say you have an input in Grasshopper. If you remove the input from the component, it will delete the input because the component will be empty. So if I delete it here, it's also emptied in the viewer, and I can add it in here again, and it's back again. If I delete the actual component, it stays. So that's just like deleting a component in Grasshopper. So let's just add it again and put it in again, like so. Oh, it was already there. Yes. You can also clear it here, and you can also sync it here. So sync also works. So let's remove that one there, remove that entirely here. So now we just have that collection, and move this out of the way. So now let's go to audio visuals. This is where you can create views. So views are quite simple in here. You simply just add a camera somewhere in the scene. Okay, so let's make a collection and then bring in that collection into here. And now you can see I have a no title view here, no title here. Let's give it a new name, like view. So now if I click that view, I get that view of that viewport, and it's in 50 millimeter. You can see, so we're quite close. So let's change that and make it maybe something like 20, and then just update it here, and then click it again, and then you're up to 20 millimeter camera instead. So these are you can also choose to activate it from within Blender, so I can choose for every viewer that is listening on what I'm publishing, I can also direct them to go to that view, for example. I can also change the time it takes to go to that view, and then just deactivate it here. So, and I can just put in another view here. Let's add another camera here, and then just update it here, and then I have two views here. And this brings me into the next one, because if I add another camera as well, I can make an animation. So let's do that. So let's make, this was 20 millimeters, let's make the last one 10 millimeters, like so. And this is the time it's going to take for us to go. And let's update it. So now I have these three. So let's just go to this one. This will immediately go into a 10 millimeter, and the other one was a 20 millimeter, and so on. So there can be as many as you want. But this also works, so let's remove it here. So let's make an animation, because that takes exactly 3 cameras. So let's just drag it into here. And here you can tell it to play, replay, and all that. Maybe we should actually just clear the view here. So now we have the animation running here. Because I just removed the component up here rather than move the content, it stayed in even though the views were gone. So now that's the animation here. If I click that, it will take me to that animation. So it'll go to 50 millimeters and then 50 millimeters and then out to 10 millimeters at the end. And then go back here. We can go from 20 to 50, then out to, I can't remember if it was 10 or something like that. So, and you can have as many of them as you want, and you will fly through them in the order that they are in the collection. And you can choose to replay and reverse and return all that stuff that you could also do in Grasshopper. So let's remove that component as well. Then we have publish sound. That is also quite simple. You simply put in a speaker somewhere in the scene. Then you make that collection that holds that speaker. Let's delete these. So now that's the collection that holds the speaker. So let's put that in here. And that one, you simply just hit the speaker here, give it an MP3. I'm not sure what I have. I can't remember. Where is it? No, let's just put in that one. Something like that. So now it has sound playing. You can choose the distance as well. You can also choose the max distance that it will be heard, and it's infinite, but you can also say it should be 10 meters, for example. So let's do that. Let's make it 10. And then at 1 meter away from the center, it will be at 100% if you have a limit on. So now it's set to play and be spatial, and you can also play on exit. All the stuff that you can do in Rhino. So let's update it. And now there should be some music playing. I can't hear it because I don't have headphones on, but I guess you can. And let's turn it off. And now it's off again. So you can simply just put in sounds wherever you want and change the different properties of it. So let's remove it here and remove it here. And now let's do the last one, which is the section. So let's add a section. And a section requires a plane. So let's put in a plane and move it into place and rotate it somehow like that. And then you have a published section here, and then you put it into here. And then you activate it, and you have your section here. So you simply just have as many sections as you want, and you can simply just activate them and tell them how long it takes for that section to arrive and whether it should be active or non-active. And you can always click it in here to make it active or non-active. So that's the basics of everything that you can do. So let's say I have this collection here, which have this geometry here, and I want to save it. Each collection has this small link, and that means that it will be saved if I save it. If I choose not to, it will break that link, and that means if I make a save file, it will not be part of that. And this means that you can mix and match what you want to include in your save file. This also goes for the scenario. So let's say I'm making a scenario which has this content, and maybe a section. I would make sure that they are selected like this. And then I would create my scenario, and they will be part of that scenario. And then I can mix and match and create my scenarios as you go. And I can add scenarios down here, and I can, I won't go into that too much, but let's call them 1 and 2. I can change the order of them and all that stuff, and I can change the duration. I can save and overwrite, and I can add and replace stuff, and I can remove stuff. So they work exactly just like Grasshopper as well. Yes, I think that is it on the basics on how this works. And as I said, there'll be some bumps along the way like you just saw. But I think I'll end it here, and I'll do some updates. And if you have any bugs and stuff like that, please send them to me, and then I can fix them. And I'll start work on some of the more features that are coming to the radii for Blender. That's it for now. See you later.